Navigating life with my in-laws has become quite a challenge. They seem intent on moving into our newly acquired home and expecting me to cater to their every need. The irony is, as soon as I began to find success and make money, their demands escalated. It's disheartening to see one of my life's biggest dreams coming true, only to have it undermined in the most absurd way imaginable. Welcome to the chaos that is my life, courtesy of my dear in-laws. My wife, Jackie, and I have enjoyed 2 happy years of marriage. I work for a video game company, and she's a college professor, and we've excelled in our respective careers. Since our early days together, we've demonstrated a shared commitment to building a future together. Call us fanciful or fast-paced, but our relationship has always been grounded in a shared vision. Our journey began with hypothetical talks about the future, which eventually materialized into a wedding and now a home of our own. The missing piece of our life plan involved securing a house, a crucial step before moving on to the next chapters, like pets and babies. We started in a modest rental, saving diligently to achieve our dream of owning a home in an ideal suburb. The prospect of having a space to call our own filled us with excitement. We took on extra jobs to make financial progress, which unfortunately led to less time together and strained our relationship. Despite the challenges, we persevered, scraped together the down payment, and secured a fantastic deal on a 4-bedroom house with a backyard, spacious kitchen, and 3 bathrooms. The house even came furnished, thanks to substantial gifts received after our wedding. This achievement marked not only a milestone for us as a couple, but also a triumph in the face of economic challenges. Our home symbolized the unbreakable bond we shared. The only remaining task was to complete the purchase of white goods, a relatively easier step given the generous gifts we received. Yet, as we reveled in our success, the intrusion of my in-laws threatened to overshadow our joy and complicate our happily ever after. We invested in essential appliances, including cleaning machines and an executive refrigerator, enabling us to weather the situation for a few months. The first night in our new home was a joyous celebration, marked by a mini party with our closest friends and family. However, the tone took a somber turn when my in-laws subtly hinted at their desire to come and live with us, an idea that now haunts my thoughts. Let me provide some context about my in-laws. Outwardly, they are individuals who consistently present a facade of laughter and contentment, appearing to be exemplary parents to the world. However, beneath this veneer lies a darker reality that Jackie, my wife, has shared with me. Her childhood was marked by physical abuse and mental punishment, with her parents instilling bizarre beliefs, such as considering cartoons as satanic, deeming colored clothes unsuitable for public wear, and asserting that candy caused cavities almost immediately. These were traumatically misleading messages for children. Jackie's brother, Joel, the family clown and the youngest sibling, faced rejection when he came out about 6 years ago, shortly after Jackie and I began dating. The parents did not handle his revelation well. I recall moments when Jackie seemed avoidant and irritable in the early stages of our relationship. I initially thought it was directed at me, but I later learned that these emotions were a result of family arguments involving Joel splashing onto her and their other brother. Despite Joel's relatively reserved nature, several disputes led to him leaving home. Initially, he sought refuge with a friend who offered support in dealing with his problems. However, after subsequent arguments, following the conflicts Joel had with Jackie and the other brother, he moved out, and to this day, his whereabouts remain unknown. Occasionally, he sends messages to Jackie and his siblings assuring them that he's fine, but he refrains from disclosing his location until his parents accept him. Regrettably, the older generation is steadfast in their refusal to embrace their son as he is. Choosing to lose him rather than love him unconditionally, the question looms: do I want these individuals to be part of my son's life? Frankly, they're not even the type of people I wish to be associated with. Their pride in an old-school mindset clashes with my values. I refuse to be someone who lacks respect for others or, worse, pretends that everything is fine when it's not. Adding to my disdain, they now want to invade our home. They approached Jackie, and notably, I was excluded from that conversation. They didn't ask if they could move in. Instead, they issued it as a directive. Jackie's relationship with her parents is complicated. She doesn't want to be around them, yet she grapples with the belief that parents are parents and blood ties are unalterable. I'll admit that I've never been their favorite, for reasons ranging from my job in the lucrative video game industry to the fact that I have tattoos, which they associate with the devil. When I heard about their plan to move in, I adamantly said no. I urged Jackie to talk to them, but she insists she's tried, leaving me uncertain about how this situation will unfold. Fast forward to the present, and the scenario has become utterly bleak. My in-laws arrived with their car and suitcases, ready to move in. It's been a week since then, and conflicts have erupted. The primary issue revolves around their car, which they consistently leave in the garage, inconveniencing us. We must seek their permission to access our own truck when we need it. Despite being the ones who go out the least, they insist on keeping their car in the front for emergency exits. This ongoing clash has made the situation increasingly difficult. Yeah, I get it. It's understandable. But it's still incredibly annoying. They even made Jackie late for class because they left without the car and took the car keys with them, leaving us locked in. Jackie had to resort to taking the bus, arriving almost half an hour late. The worst part is that they don't seem willing to change or comprehend the impact of their actions. We've spoken to Jackie's brother Jonathan, but he feels unable to assist right now, given his 3 children and smaller, less comfortable house. We don't want to burden them further. My in-laws have their own house, and yet they seem to do this just to irritate us. Despite their age, they don't require special care. In fact, being in a place like this only stresses them more. It's not that I dislike extra help. It's just that they are like pieces of furniture, utterly useless. At least furniture is comfortable and helps you relax. They are the antithesis of furniture, annoying by their mere presence. It's only been one Sunday since they arrived, and if every weekend is going to be like this, I'd rather not have them in the same city. My mother-in-law blared the religious channel at full volume, disrupting one of the few occasions where Jackie and I could sleep in. Meanwhile, Jackie's dad smokes like a chimney in the courtyard, and the smoke occasionally wafts into our makeshift office, permeating the room with the scent of nicotine. It's unpleasant, makes me cough, and raises the risk of getting sick. Jackie tells me that her father quit smoking years ago, but picked up the habit again at 70, feeling that at that point, nothing else could hurt him. There are many aspects of this situation that worry me, but one specific concern is their hinting at bringing all their stuff from the old house to sell. This move would make their stay with us permanent, and that fills me with dread and sadness. As absurd as it may sound, my in-laws aren't fans of pets, and they refuse to adopt any animals. This leaves me wondering when they started having more say in my household than I do. Regarding Jackie, she does her best. But the biggest issue lies in the fact that I spend the most time in the house, making the experience incredibly uncomfortable. Besides, they treat their daughter like a servant, asking her for breakfast and to buy medicine. I've offered to help, but she can be stubborn, insisting that, as her parents, it's her responsibility. I don't want her to shoulder all the chores, understanding that she can get very tired. At this point, I feel useless in my relationship. Update number 2. Thank goodness this remains anonymous, as I wouldn't want my acquaintances to know that, like much of the world's population, I despise my in-laws. Mary and Joseph couldn't be worse as housemates. They've completely taken over the home that Jackie and I painstakingly built from scratch, from the decorations to our daily routine. Even the most personal touches, like buying tons of tapioca and putting up decorations from their trips around the country, now define more than half of the house. It no longer feels like the creation of a young couple, but has been transformed into their new sanctuary, and it disgusts me. Friction on both sides has escalated. There was a day when I was taking a bath, and my father-in-law casually announced that he was coming in to pee, claiming the upstairs bathroom was better. I protested, stating that this was a blatant invasion of privacy. However, he argued that I had the curtain drawn, so there was no need to be upset. Keep in mind, we have 3 bathrooms, and neither of them contributes to other aspects of the house, such as preparing meals. Jackie learned to cook with her siblings because it was a matter of life and death for her mother. However, the in-laws show no interest in contributing to household tasks. I thought they'd be a humble family that not only respected but also took advantage of their daughter's culinary skills. Instead, they are solely interested in the house, reducing Jackie and me to serving as tissues. Cheap ones at that. Our attempts to host friends have been marred by constant complaints from the in-laws. They text us incessantly from their room, complaining about everything from the music volume to our alcohol consumption. They even insisted that it's impolite for hosts to drink in their own house. Now, our friends formally decline our invitations, and it's disheartening. We're forced to sacrifice our social life to accommodate unwelcome guests in our own home. Update number 3. I finally experienced a brief period of peace at home. Jonathan, Jackie's brother, understanding our situation, decided to take my in-laws for a weekend under the pretext that his children would spend more time with their grandparents. We were immensely grateful, seizing the opportunity to enjoy some privacy. Friday was spent sleeping until noon on Saturday without worrying about a thing. On Sunday, we watched movies and tried out a couple of recipes we've been wanting to make for a long time. As hard as it is to admit, we felt like we still had so much more to do. Consequently, Jackie and I discussed the difficult decision of asking my in-laws to find their own place, as painful as it may be. I assured her that I would stand by her side during the conversation, aiming to remain strong. We decided to discuss our concerns with her parents upon their return. That Monday evening, after returning from work, we broached the topic with them. However, initiating a conversation about not wanting an older couple to live with you is inherently awkward. The challenge lay in figuring out how to express our desire for them to have their own space without offending them. Inevitably, the discussion turned to the 2 options we saw: placing them in a nursing home or keeping them with us. Financial considerations were set aside as we genuinely believed a nursing home would offer the best care and comfort for everyone involved. Unfortunately, they did not share our perspective. The mere proposal offended them deeply. Despite offering to assist with expenses, they began raising their voices, insisting they were not feeble old people and that we needn't go to such lengths for them. Feeling the tension rise, Jackie spoke up, stating, "To be honest, it's become somewhat complicated for us to keep the 2 of you in the house, not so much economically, but in terms of living together because we want and need to have our own space as a couple." Their reaction was loud and defensive. Unable to tolerate their shouting, I interjected, stating that we never wanted them in the house in the first place. They invited themselves. This struck a nerve, as they felt we saw them as useless burdens. In response, they scolded us, portraying themselves as victims. My father-in-law, refusing to yield, asserted that nobody would force him out of his own house. The situation escalated when he turned violent, threatening me due to our age difference. While I am not a violent person, the confrontation brought out the worst in me. Jackie intervened, calming us down and suggesting we discuss the matter in the morning. By then, I had reached my breaking point. I firmly asserted that there was no way they would stay at my place. The night concluded with them retreating to their room, upset, mirroring our own feelings. Strangely, it became a night of peace in the house, with both parties silently stewing in their thoughts. I even dreamt of evicting them on the spot, as crude as it may sound. I'm struggling to find an immediate solution to this ongoing conflict, but Jackie and I are in constant communication, brainstorming potential resolutions. Update number 4. I sense that some readers might be anticipating a more intense turn in the story. And unfortunately, it did take a somber turn. Jackie had a significant argument with her parents, details of which she chose not to share with me. I was left in limbo for a couple of days. About a week ago, when their conversation concluded, I found Jackie crying as she packed a small bag. apologizing and explaining that she'd stay at Jonathan's for a few days. Just like that, my life vanished from our home to her brother's, leaving me alone with my in-laws for 2 whole days. No one addressed the situation with me during that time, and Jackie, through occasional messages, assured me she'd be back soon, enjoying time with her nephews. I tried to stay home as little as possible during this period, allowing ample time for reflection on what our next course of action should be. Despite my efforts, no clear plan emerged. When Jackie returned, she presented the final details of her master plan to rid ourselves of her parents. I won't delve into the specifics for now, but I'll emphasize that when someone messes with your spouse, even if they're her parents, forgiveness may not be on the table. Update number 5. It's been 3 long months since the last update, and the situation has left Jackie and me on edge. We've exhausted all avenues to evict her parents, even exploring legal means, but the protective laws for older individuals seem to work against us. In an almost absurd twist, they attempted to take over the house, revealing documents that implied Jackie's consent, though she signed without understanding. We chose to remain silent at the time, but now we've decided to show them no mercy. We've organized a plan to sell the house without informing them. It's painful that we can't even make it our own home, but it seems we may have to follow in the footsteps of Jackie's younger brother, Joel, and simply disappear from their lives. In our pursuit of happiness and peace, the realization struck that having my in-laws hovering over us, whispering negativity, was not conducive to a good life for anyone. So we've decided to offer our house to work colleagues of a friend, people we're not particularly close to. My friend will play a pivotal role in recommending the house for sale at a good price. You might wonder about the whereabouts of my in-laws in this equation. Well, they'll be on vacation with my father-in-law's younger sibling for 2 weeks. During this time, we plan to finalize arrangements, take our belongings, and leave the house under Jonathan's care. He's been helping us and assured us that his parents still have their old residence to return to. Jonathan is not afraid to confront them when they move back, especially since his family lacks the space to support them, even if they wanted to. We'll be making them move during this period, organizing everything to remain anonymous long enough to slip away unnoticed. It may seem a bit crazy, but we're serious about regaining our own space without unwanted intruders. Update number 6. We're still at the party, and if my excitement is palpable, it's because we all are. I'll cut to the chase as I sense your anticipation. We did go through with the change, finalizing the sale, leaving the place, and what transpired afterward is worthy of a television series. In chronological order, we sold the house, stayed with Jonathan's family for a couple of days to complete the move, and secured an apartment in the city center. While smaller than our previous home, we had surplus funds that found their way into a savings account. Then came the waiting, a mere 2 or 3 days that felt like the longest of our lives. A little less than a week later, we started receiving messages from Jonathan detailing the aftermath. We owe our lives to him because he almost masterfully covered up our tracks. Upon their return, my in-laws found the house inhabited by strangers, adorned with new decor, and none of their old belongings. The family that was now in residence returned to find a pair of older individuals complaining and yelling about why they were in their house. Instead of being bewildered, the family's reaction infuriated my in-laws. So, without hesitation, they dialed the police. While I wasn't privy to all the details, I knew it was a bitter situation. The elderly couple ended up spending a couple of nights at the police station as authorities tried to untangle the mess. What intrigued and somewhat troubled me was the conspicuous absence of our involvement in the elders' saga. The new owners reached out to us, but we insisted they relocate the elderly pair due to the potential legal ramifications of illegal trespassing, a demand they'd promptly fulfilled. Legal disputes ensued, and we closely followed the proceedings. Thankfully, we remained unscathed, only providing some private statements. It was a trying time, and Jackie shed many tears, but ultimately, we emerged victorious. The elderly couple, facing the possibility of trespassing charges, incurred a substantial fine and were mandated to return to their own home. This marked their lowest point, as they were already established in a residence, making the legal implications quite severe. In a nutshell, we got what we desired. The elders paid the fine, tails between their legs, and we returned home. According to Jonathan, they couldn't have been angrier. Oddly enough, a couple of positive outcomes emerged from this ordeal. First and foremost, we reconnected with Jackie's brother Joel, who, upon learning about his parents' actions, decided to rejoin us. We invited him home, and he accepted. Future updates will delve into his stories from the past few years. Plans for a family dinner are in the works, sans the older folks. We're eager to capture moments with pictures, knowing that the parents lack social networks to stalk us. Here's a little secret. After the dinner, we plan to reveal another joyful development. Jackie's pregnant, and I'm going to be a dad. It's an exciting time for us, financially supported by what we saved at the apartment. Though not guaranteed, Joel expressed a willingness to assist with the baby's care. We're thrilled, as we were on the brink of thinking it might not happen. Despite the potential awkwardness when the baby asks for grandparents, we're embracing the start of a new and promising chapter for our growing family. Reflecting on the comments, some argued that our actions were overboard, advocating for a straightforward confrontation. While I understand those sentiments, the unique plan we executed unfolded successfully, leading to positive outcomes in our lives. Feel free to share your thoughts in the comments section below. I appreciate your engagement and hope you all have a fantastic day. Stay kind. A year ago, at the age of 33, I found myself facing a divorce from my 39-year-old husband of 7 years. We had met during an internship where he was training as a surgeon, and our relationship had flourished. Despite both achieving our career goals, our marital bliss took a nosedive, particularly when my mother-in-law, Karen, moved in with us. Karen never concealed her disdain for me, convinced that I was with her son solely for financial gain. Although my husband willingly supported me as a stay-at-home wife, I brushed off Karen's attitude as typical mother-in-law behavior. However, my complacency waned when I noticed her growing close to a female friend of mine, Caitlin. Karen consistently brought up Caitlin in conversations, even comparing us in front of my husband. Initially, I believed Karen was attempting to steer my friend towards my husband, thinking Caitlin was a more suitable match. I couldn't have been more mistaken. It turned out that my husband was the one pursuing Caitlin, having cheated on me with her for over 2 years. When he finally requested a divorce, he openly admitted his infidelity and his desire for Caitlin to replace me in his life. The pain and anger I felt were magnified when he offered me alimony, which I promptly declined, wanting no part of his money. To add insult to injury, both my ex-husband and mother-in-law mocked me, claiming they were doing me a favor by offering a financial head start. They doubted my ability to survive without their support, confidently asserting that I would come crawling back within 6 months. Little did they know that as soon as the divorce proceedings were finalized, I had a different plan in mind. After securing a cozy apartment with my savings, I delved into the job market, eager to move forward. Soon enough, I landed an interview for a high-ranking position at a prestigious private clinic. It was there that I crossed paths with Garrett, my now fiancé, who happened to be my boss. What began as a typical office romance turned into a whirlwind. Within 4 months of dating, Garrett proposed, offering me the choice to continue working alongside him or opt for a comfortable life as a stay-at-home partner. As I navigated this new chapter, my ex-husband remained largely absent from my thoughts. Pride prevented me from indulging in the post-breakup habit of stalking his social media. However, about a week ago, my ex reached out, expressing a desire to talk. Initially, I dismissed and blocked him upon discovering the message's origin. Yet persistence prevailed, and the following day he showed up at my workplace. After some reluctance, I agreed to a lunch meeting, expecting a one-on-one conversation. To my surprise, his mother joined us. During the lunch, my ex went on a remorseful tirade, expressing regret for their past actions and desperately seeking forgiveness. The climax was their pitiful request for me to take him back. Unimpressed, I labeled their plea as pathetic and reminded them of their earlier prediction that I would be the one crawling back to them within 6 months. Despite my firm rejection, they persisted in begging, painting a picture of life returning to its previous state. As my lunch break neared its end, I firmly declined and asked them to leave me alone. I asserted that I now had a fiancé, who I proudly claimed was 100 times better than my ex-husband. Leaving the scene, I taunted my ex by vaguely mentioning my fiancé as someone from work. Upon returning, I shared the bizarre encounter with Garrett, who promised to investigate the situation. The next 2 days unfolded with an air of anticipation. Upon obtaining the information, Garrett's investigative team uncovered a disturbing revelation about my ex-husband. It appeared that, driven by ego and negligence, he had left an item inside a patient during one of his surgeries. The patient, upon discovering this, promptly filed a lawsuit against the hospital, which responded by terminating my ex-husband. The ongoing lawsuit posed a significant threat to his medical license. Understanding the gravity of the situation, I realized why my ex-husband and mother-in-law were desperately seeking my forgiveness. However, I turned to seek the perspective of others, posing the question, am I the a-hole for refusing to take my ex-husband back despite their pleas? In the first update, I shared that 2 days after the lunch confrontation, Garrett handed me an envelope containing a report filled with inaccuracies and lies aimed at discrediting me. It was evident that my ex-mother-in-law and her son were behind this attempt to tarnish my reputation. The letter emphasized my relationship with a coworker and referenced company policies, revealing they had done some research. Ironically, they failed to realize that my co-worker boyfriend was the owner who had implemented those policies. I chose to ignore their efforts, anticipating that it might not be the end of their schemes. In the second update, I confirmed my suspicions as letters inundated our mailbox, filled with complaints about me. Fake accounts posted negative reviews on our clinic's review site, all part of their orchestrated attempt to sabotage my career. Despite the fake nature of these accounts, the relentless assault on my professional reputation was unnerving. The situation made me reflect on the potential consequences had I not been in a relationship with Garrett. As I grappled with these challenges, I couldn't help but wonder about the lengths they were willing to go to destroy my career. The updates unfolded with a mix of gratitude for support received and apprehension about the ongoing efforts to undermine my professional life. I chose to build my life without them, refusing to be their lapdog once again. Contemplating revenge, I set my sights on something equally significant, his marriage. Aware of my ex-friend's jealousy, I envisioned her dismay upon learning that he was attempting to return to me, the woman they had deemed useless. Seeking a taste of their own medicine, I wondered what you guys thought of my plan. In the third update, I executed my revenge, creating a new Instagram account. I easily found my ex-friend Caitlin, who, despite her husband's job loss and impending court case, portrayed a life of luxury on social media. Her posts flaunted shopping sprees, cozy dates, and notably her pregnancy. Discovering that she had married the man-child ex-husband just 2 months after our divorce stung, considering the wasted 7 years of my life. Nonetheless, armed with this information, I initiated a conversation with her, gradually forming a friendship. Over a month, I subtly planted seeds of doubt, playing the role of a caring friend while learning about her marital troubles. Once convinced she was where I wanted her, I called my ex-husband, convincing him to meet privately to discuss rekindling our marriage. I informed my fiancé, ensuring everything was stable for the upcoming events. At the meeting, I found him nervously happy, relishing in the twisted satisfaction of knowing his joy would soon turn sour. Implementing stage 1 of the plan, I set the rule that he must refer to me in the third person. Confused but compliant, he played along. Transitioning to stage 2, I used leading questions to extract information about his marriage. As expected, he unleashed a torrent of slander, detailing his unhappiness, lack of love for his wife, and regrets about leaving me. He even expressed distaste for the unborn child, wishing for a miscarriage. He willingly threw his current wife under the bus, outlining explicit plans to return to me at the first opportunity. Though some details are not safe for work, the outcome aligned perfectly with my expectations. He willingly exposed his true colors, confirming that my revenge plan was succeeding. Once I successfully deceived him into pouring out his heart, I sweetly assured him that I needed time to process everything. I promised that the next time we met, I would be single and ready to rekindle our relationship. He eagerly embraced this prospect, displaying childlike excitement. In that moment, a sadistic pleasure washed over me, knowing the imminent betrayal he was about to experience. Back home, I collaborated with my husband and a team of editors, marking the initiation of Stage 3 of the plan. Recordings and videos were meticulously crafted to conceal my identity, yet emphasize my female presence. His words were strategically edited to magnify their negative impact. With this done, the next step involved delivering the content to his current wife. Using another Instagram account, I ensured she saw the incriminating material during a vulnerable moment. Engaging in a feigned sympathetic conversation, I artfully fueled her anger. Gradually, I began influencing her perspective, persuading her that she deserved better and that he didn't deserve her. Eventually, I directed her towards the path of revenge. Continuing the act of a concerned friend, I encouraged her to divorce him and take everything, emphasizing that he wanted to return to his ex-wife. With the seeds of discontent planted, she fell into my manipulative web, convinced that leaving him penniless was the appropriate course of action. In the fourth update, I gleefully reported that my plan had worked. A week after the revelation, he called me in a fit of rage, threatening retaliation for deceiving him. Calmly listening to his tirade, I laughed with my fiancé, reveling in the success of my scheme. Soon after, I received a message from my newfound bestie, announcing the commencement of the divorce process. With the money I provided, she secured a formidable lawyer, ready to leave him financially depleted. As usual, I continued my manipulative influence, planting sinister ideas in her mind. Once convinced that she had turned against him, I disappeared, citing business as an excuse. The onslaught of letters also ceased, signaling the apparent success of my elaborate plot. So, it seemed they had finally realized I wouldn't be getting fired anytime soon. After the whole divorce ordeal and my ex-husband going off on me, I received a surprising message from him just 1 month and a few days later. He claimed he wanted to apologize for what happened. Initially shocked and suspicious, my doubts were confirmed when he suggested we have dinner on him as an apology gift. He also expressed a desire to discuss the possibility of rekindling or at least becoming friends again, emphasizing that we were friends before lovers. Discussing this with my fiancé, we both harbored suspicions and decided to play along. My fiancé had someone discreetly watch and follow him to uncover any potential ulterior motives. It didn't take long for the suspicions to be validated. 3 days before the planned date, he visited a store known for its background deals on certain substances, including roofies. Upon further investigation, it became clear that he intended to drug me during the date, film compromising scenes, and then use it as leverage for various purposes, possibly including blackmail, money, rekindling the relationship, or assistance with his court case. The horrifying realization of his intentions left me horrified. Reacting to this revelation, my fiancé proposed a counterplan, suggesting we give him a taste of his own medicine. The day before the scheduled dinner, we arranged for a male stripper to discreetly follow me on the date, keeping a distance until the drugged food or drink was switched. Once the effects kicked in, the stripper would intervene and capture the moment, intending to send the footage to his wife and those suing him. Executing the plan flawlessly, I met up with him on the arranged day, enduring another round of his apologies and remorseful speeches. He admitted to falsely accusing me of sabotaging his marriage, even thanking the unknown person behind it. While engaging in this conversation, I observed him drugging my drink, but managed to switch it in the nick of time. Once he consumed the tampered drink, I calmly excused myself to the bathroom, anticipating his inevitable follow-up. True to expectations, he soon entered the dimly lit hallway, only to be swiftly seized and taken away. The plan had successfully unfolded, and I awaited the aftermath of our strategic retaliation. I played my part by inquiring about him and settling the bill that night. The events of that evening were a blur, but the morning after, his wife texted me, claiming she was devastated. Apparently, the man she was divorcing, who was now expecting a child with me, had not only cheated on her with his ex-wife, but also with a man. It was a ludicrous situation, and though I struggled to maintain a composed demeanor, I kept up the act. Simultaneously, I continued with the lawsuit, and judging by the latest headlines, the video had reached its intended audience. That's the gist of what's been happening. I sense that everything is approaching a resolution, and soon things will return to normal. I'll wait and see before providing a final update. In the concluding update, I reveal that he lost everything, just as I desired. His marriage crumbled, and Caitlin took everything in the divorce, gaining full custody, child support, alimony, essentially, every conceivable asset. The court case ended decisively against him, resulting in bankruptcy. The last encounter with him revealed a dire situation. Both he and his mother ended up broke and homeless, moving between shelters. Attempts to visit the clinic were thwarted by my fiancé's intervention, ensuring they never returned. As I prepare for my upcoming marriage, I reflect on the irony that he divorced me with the belief that I would suffer without them. Yet it's he who finds himself begging for scraps. I express not just their deserving fate, but the manifestation of karma. Grateful for the support throughout the story, I conclude, acknowledging that karma indeed has its way.